Okay, you guys can see my screen, I hope. Can everybody see my screen? Yes?
Yep, looks good.
Okay, so just first some housekeeping to get your setup to where it looks decent. I like to go into options here, and let's go, so options, and you get this screen. So the first I look at is in mail, message arrival. So some of you, when an email comes in, your computer dings, or that little icon in the lower right screen pops up showing the email has come in. My personal preference, I deselect all that. So you see in my settings, message arrival, I have it so it's not going to play a sound. It's not going to show an envelope envelope icon. It's not going to show a desktop alert. I think that if you've got that enabled, you are just inviting constant distraction. So you can look at the new emails that have come in when you're ready to look at it. I don't think you want to be constantly interrupted the moment it comes through. That's my 2 cents. I'd recommend that you do that. Calendar. Default reminder. So when an email comes in, you can decide how soon in advance of that meeting you want it to ding and remind you that, hey, you got a meeting coming up. Most people do 15 minutes. Maybe you want a little more time. That's what I do there. Okay. Next is go back to mail and your signature. So you guys should all have a signature set for when you create a new email. You'll notice that I don't have Nick Berg, CMCA, AMS, PCAM, CMCA-HR. You really, I recommend doing no more than 2 designations if you have it. And then obviously for the CAI designations, you should really just use the highest designation. Otherwise it becomes what we call alphabet soup. And it's just way too much. Okay. All right, so I'm gonna close that out. Now, how do we want what's the most efficient way to kind of look at your screen? I'm gonna go to view here. I like to have the reading pane on the right side, okay? I like the tighter spacing. I know some people have the wider spacing. For me, the wider spacing, I'm not able to see as much. So I like to tighten that up. Some people use this message preview where they do one line of the actual message so that you can see kind of in the message like what it's about. That to me is too busy, and I've already got the reading pane to the right. So my preference is not to have that message preview. To me, this is much more efficient for me to see all the emails. Okay. All right. Let's first go to. I sent everybody an email, a couple emails. Go ahead and open up Outlook Jedi test number 1. You guys able to open that up? Give me a thumbs up if you've got it. It should have a heart on it. Yeah. Okay. Now what I want you to do is hit the space bar. You should be seeing a bear. So we're going through the shortcuts. If you use space bar, you can advance the email down as much as you like. Now, go ahead and hold Shift and also hit space bar, and you should be able to scroll up. Your message should be scrolling up. Does that make sense? Everybody able to do that? So instead of using your mouse to go over here, and it can be much faster to just move through it with your space bar. Okay?
Okay.
You can select multiple messages using your mouse. So let's take, I'm going to take these two messages, right? Actually, I'm going to take messages that are not in order. So I'm going to click on the first one, hold down Control, and click on the next one. And even though they're not continuous, I'm able to select both. Now I can move these to a folder. I can hold Control D and delete them. You see that? Control, you can, by holding Control, you can select non-continuous emails and you can manipulate them that way. Now, let's say you have a bunch of emails that you know are not really important, and you want to just kill them all, and they're all kind of in order. You can hold Shift, and just with your arrow, select a whole bucket of emails, and from there you can delete or move them to your headquarters folder or whatever folder you like. Got it? Okay, let's go back to our test number 1. And I want you to hold Control and hit R. And it should create a new email for you that's replying to Nick Berg. So Control R allows you to reply to just the sender of the email. Go ahead and close that out. Go back to that email. Now I want you to hold Control, Shift, and R. Control, Shift, and R. And you just did reply all. Okay? So that's a way that you can quickly kick new emails out. I don't think I need to tell everybody about Control C, Control V, Control P. Does everybody know that? So Control C is copy. So if I select that, Control C, and then Control V, I can paste it. Control X is cut. So that actually takes it out of wherever you're trying to move it from, and then you can paste it. So, okay. All right. How's everybody doing? Is everybody lost? Is everybody okay? Everybody, okay. I see a lot of heads shaking like they're doing okay. All right, good.
Got it.
Okay, we're gonna move on to folders. So hopefully you guys all have folders here for your different properties or different buckets in which you want to throw emails. Okay, I want to create a new email. I want you all to create a new email. I'm totally indifferent to where you place it, but I want you to create a new folder called newsletters. I'm going to put it in my headquarters folder as a subfolder in headquarters. So I'm going to right click on headquarters, and I'm going to do new folder. And I'm going to call this newsletters. Okay. Everybody should be able to do that. And there's my newsletters folder. You see it? Don't want it in and you can do it at a higher level if you want to do it off of your inbox. You can make it a main folder. But please go ahead and do that. Everybody give me a thumbs up when you've done it. All right, we're looking good. Okay, now what we're going to do is I want to create a rule. Rules are a way for your computer to automatically filter and do certain things for you. So the most useful thing that it'll do is it will move certain emails into folders based on criteria that you set. So we're going to create a rule. I'm going to create a rule here. So click on rules. Okay. We're going to create a rule. Okay. And it's going to ask you, what do you want to do with this rule? What do you want it to do? So I want to create a rule that takes any email that says management update in the subject. So give me a open quote, management update. Close quote. Okay. So we got a check mark next to subject contains management update. So I'm saying, computer, look for any new emails that say management update, like in those two words together. It's got to be perfect. It's got to look exactly like that. If it does, I want you to do the following. So what do I want it to do? I want to move the item to my newsletters folder. Can everybody do that? Give me a thumbs up when you got it. Has everybody done it? Okay, click OK. Run this rule now. You can do that. There shouldn't be very much in your inbox that says management update. Okay, now I have an email. It's the Soma Grand Management Update. I'm going to send it to you all, and we're going to see if this hits your inbox or if it goes straight into your newsletter folder. Ready? So if everything worked out, that should have gone to your newsletter folder and not into your inbox. Did it work? Yes?
Yes.
Okay. So I do this for all sorts of things that are, things that I don't need to take off my attention from more urgent things in my inbox. So the Davis Sterling newsletter, I know what that header looks like. I know who the sender is. I can set rules around that so that I can put that into a folder where I can look at it later. Okay? All right. So yeah, I encourage you to, anytime you get an email that's recurring and not urgent, and that always goes into a particular folder, go ahead and set up a rule. All right, next, we're going to talk about quick steps. So I want you to think of the folder that you use the most. Which folder do you put emails in the most frequently? So if you were to imagine, the emails where you're constantly clicking on it and dragging it across and putting it in that folder, what is that folder? Go ahead and write it down. Okay, now what I want to do is we're going to make a quick step. So a quick step allows us to do certain things that usually take multiple clicks with just a single click or a single shortcut. So let's go to quick steps. You see it's right here on your toolbar. Click that drop down and you'll get this. Okay? And I want to make a new quick step. Okay? And let's do a move to folder quick step. So this one, let's name it move to, and whatever the folder is that you're gonna use. So my most frequently used folder is HQ. So I can name it move to HQ, or I can just call it HQ. Okay. And what do I want this folder to do? I want it to move to my headquarters folder. There's some options. Go ahead and click on options. You can create a shortcut. I want to create a shortcut, and I want this to be, I want Control-Shift-1 to be this headquarters shortcut. Okay. And I'd go ahead and do that if you don't already have a shortcut assigned to that, and save. Okay, now you should have up here the name of that folder that you just created. You have it? Yes? Okay. You can go ahead and take my email, or test number 1, and click on that folder and kick it to that folder. Bam! Okay. If you want, drag it back in your inbox and try to move it with the shortcut. So hold Control-Shift and the number 1. Bam! And you should have moved it. So do you see how you just went from taking that email and dragging it across your screen to a couple keystrokes? Okay. Let's go to, so when you've got a ton of emails, let's say you're 100 emails back. A good way that I've found to really burn through them is organize it by subject. So if you click on subject here, you can group it by subject. And so, like, let's say you've got a grouping and it's all together, you can kind of move through the thread, and once you've kind of gotten the idea of what it's about and you don't need to do anything, select it all and move it. And that can be an easier way to make some inroads on your inbox. Okay? I go back to just having it organized by date. All right. Let's talk about junk versus ignore. So hopefully you can see up here junk and ignore. Junk is like that email where you're constantly getting it from the same sender or the same domain, and it's clearly junk, and you, under no circumstances do you want future emails from that person or that no. Sorry. Is everybody on mute? Okay, I think we got it. There we go. Okay, sorry about that. So I was saying, junk is if you don't want a particular sender or that particular sender's domain, you can block. So it's a good way to get them off it. Ignore is different. Ignore means the subject line, that particular thread, you're not involved. You don't want any you're not interested in seeing future emails related to that thread. You can click on that to ignore the conversation. So you won't get emails related to that thread anymore. Again, be careful about doing this, because if there's a thread and suddenly somebody thinks of you and you know, throws your name around in there, you actually might want to continue to follow the thread. But if truly you've gotten included on something that has nothing to do with you and you don't want to see those emails anymore, you can use ignore. Okay. Quick parts. So I sent everybody an email earlier. Hopefully you got it. And it looked like this. It had the Outlook Jedi topics and then recommended quick parts. Can everybody open the recommended quick parts? So here are a number of, stock language that I use frequently for questions. So I want to do an easy one first. So this first long one is when people ask a question like, "Hey, I'm a realtor, and here's a questionnaire. Manager, will you please fill this out?" Well, you know, I don't want to have to explain over and over again and type it out again and again. We use the fee-based website, HomeWise Docs. Here's how you log in, da, da, da. I've written all that out and I've saved it. So if you want, let's go ahead and highlight this big, long HomeWise Doc explanation of how they do this. Okay. And you can right-click copy or Control-C copy. Let me know when you've got that. So you should have that copied. Now let's go ahead and open a new message. Okay. And in the body of the email, I want you to click in the body of the email and go ahead and paste that information. Okay. So you've got all that stuff in the email. Go ahead and select it one more time. Let's go to Insert, Quick Parts, and I want to save the selection to our Quick Parts gallery. What are we going to call it? Let's call it HomeWise. And we're going to go OK. Okay. So now, sorry, let me delete this. Okay, so I just sent you an email. Imagine this is a lender that just sent you a questionnaire and said, "Hey, manager, can you fill this out for me?" Let's go ahead and reply to him. So remember, you could Control-R if you want to shortcut it, or you could hit reply. But because we're advanced, we're going to go Control-R. Okay. Now, if we want to quickly answer this person's questions and tell them how to go to HomeWise, let's go to Insert, Quick Parts, and hit HomeWise. Bam! You have instantly answered their question. What do you guys think?
Good.
All right, so when you get a chance, I really recommend that you do this with the other bits of language. So I've got language in here for SACs, people who want insurance certs, how they can go get insurance certs. I would put in your conference call ID so you can quickly add it to, when you're sending out agendas or meeting invites that need a conference dial-in, your Ring Central virtual meeting IDs. This is a good one. People ask, who should I go to for insurance? There's a company called Lemonade that provides insurance for homeowners, HO6 coverage. And then this is a good one. If somebody sends you a positive email saying, hey, manager, you did such a wonderful job. What can I do? Can I send a positive note to your boss? You can send them this and say, hey, thank you so much. Please give us a positive review on Yelp. That would actually mean a lot more to us. Okay. All right. Moving on. Go back to our thing here. Calendar. So I think everybody knows how to share calendar. One kind of cool thing that I like to do that helps is if you're quickly trying to create a meeting, what you can do is you can actually drag an email into this calendar icon to create a meeting. So let's say, for example, I want to create a meeting to talk about this lender questionnaire. I can grab it, drag it, drop it in on top of that calendar, and it's going to create a calendar invite with all of that, everything that was in the email in the notes of the calendar invite. And then I can set the meeting date. Okay. Let's talk about contacts. So this little, where these people are, contacts. I use this, when I've got contacts that I'm trying to keep track of, and sometimes I get, Outlook V cards or virtual cards, basically business cards. One trick I've found is when you're entering their information in company, put what type of company they are, followed by the company name. And when you search your contacts by company, you can find who are all the banks, who are all the engineers, who are all the environmental consultants, who are a couple different handymen, insurance people, landscapers. So I've found that helps me when I'm trying to find somebody to bid or I'm trying to find a service provider. As you start to build your Rolodex, I think that might help you manage it. All right. Last thing before everybody glazes over, one more. Let's go to automatic replies. So this is your out of office for your email. I hope you guys are using this when you are out of the office, when you go on vacation. I'm gonna hit automatic replies. Key with our out of offices, make sure that you're saying when you'll be, when you're out of the office, designate a backup, who that backup is going to be, plus their email. And then I like to put the 24-hour emergency hotline and how people can get stuff on HomeWise. And you want to set that for inside and outside your organization. When you set your automatic replies, you can set it for just to put it on until you take it off, or you can set it for a defined period, so you can have it automatically come off when you come back from vacation, so that you don't even have to think about it. Okay. Outlook does have an app for iPhone and iPad. I think it's a lot better using the Outlook app rather than just the email standard email app on your iPhone. So if you don't have the Outlook app, I recommend you get that. That makes it a lot easier. And that's it. That's our Outlook training. I'm gonna stop the share. Everybody who was on this call is gonna get a special pin because you are now Outlook Jedi. But please, I'm gonna put these in everybody's box. But please practice. I'll send a YouTube with the video of this, so that you guys, anything you missed, you can go over it again and make sure you implement it. Oh, one last thing. As you set up those, we talked about those quick steps where, you've set, like, move something to your Outlook, to your headquarters folders, or move something to, I don't know, Point Pacific folder with just a couple keystrokes. If you have trouble forgetting which number you assign to each one, I do this. I'll show you. So I don't know if you can see that. If on my keyboard, I've written on a little sticky, on the sticky portion of a Post-it note, and then cut out, and I put it on my keyboard so that I don't forget, and I can quickly know how to throw something in a particular folder. And this works on your laptop too. Okay. All right. All right, that's it. I'm going to stop recording.